At a company dinner, the wife saw that her husband was constantly being put down by his superior. Unable to hold back, she scolded the superior in front of everyone. She thought she had stood up for her husband, but instead of being grateful, he scolded her. Angry, the superior chased after them and called Paul's wife an ill-mannered mad dog. Hearing this, Paul punched the superior hard, leaving his wife stunned. Wasn't he the one who said he had to swallow his pride for work? What would they do if he lost his job? Paul replied that if he let his superior insult his wife, he wouldn't be a good husband. He comforted his wife, telling her not to worry. He wouldn't let her and the children go hungry. Selena learned that Paul had dropped out of Seoul Law School because his wife got pregnant. Now he worked a thankless job and had no regrets. For a moment, she was moved. When she thought about how his son thought she was going through menopause and had used his saved allowance to buy her medicine, pretending it was vitamins, she felt touched. Even though Selena was only a 1-month stand-in for Paul's wife, she knew she would regret it forever if she didn't cherish such a family. So the next day, she changed her ways and tried hard to be a good wife. It turned out that the heavenly office had hired a temp who, due to carelessness, brought up Selena, who was supposed to live to 80, to heaven. Paul's wife Linda was supposed to die a month later but was sent to reincarnation instead. With no choice, the heavenly judge tricked Selena into living as Linda for 1 month, after which she would be sent back to her own body. What troubled Selena was that her daughter, now in her rebellious phase, barely communicated with her and only asked for allowance. Deliberately, she had her daughter fold shopping bags to make her understand the hardships of adults. That day, her daughter came home and hid in her room. Sensing something wrong, Selena followed her in. Learning that her daughter had nearly been assaulted by a rich kid, an angry Selena took her daughter to the school to demand an explanation. Now that their roles were reversed, Selena had to listen to the other lawyers' twisted arguments. She finally understood the heart-wrenching pain of the victim's family when she had defended rich kids in the past. Even though she knew she wasn't the girl's real mother, her heart ached so much she hid in the bathroom. Her thoughtful daughter thought her mother was worried and urged her to settle, since the family was already deep in debt. Selena comforted her, saying just because they had loans didn't mean they had to put up with being bullied. She decided to face this with her daughter. Back at the negotiating table, after the other lawyer smugly finished speaking, Selena took out her phone with the recording. As a former lawyer, she knew these people's weaknesses all too well. If they didn't apologize, she wouldn't accept any settlement. Even if it ruined them financially, she would make sure the rich kid's reputation was destroyed. When the rich kid publicly humiliated her daughter, Selena was so angry she hit him. In the end, the rich kid was transferred to another school, and all due compensation and apologies were given. Paul suddenly received a notice that he was being transferred away from Seoul. He thought it was because he had embarrassed his section chief. After some investigation, Selena discovered that the section chief had taken bribes from a conglomerate to try to take over the residential area early. She had once been involved in this herself. Armed with proof, she confronted the section chief. At the threat of exposure, the section chief fled in terror. The transfer order was cancelled. Her daughter became well-behaved. Selena learned how to get along with the children. She managed the household chores flawlessly. She gradually integrated into the family and even enjoyed everything they brought her. But she seemed to forget that the happiness she had was someone else's. She was just a 1-month imposter.